Alright folks, what I've got over here behind me is a 2001 Ford Ranger with the 4.0 in it. She's rusty but trusty. The box is rusted out, cab corners are rusted out. One of the body mounts on the driver's side is rotted out. But she fires up, she does what she needs to do. Now, what I have here on the table is a rack and pinion. I'm replacing, unfortunately. What happened was, alternator went bad. I changed the alternator. I did not run the right routing pattern. I mucked up. I'm dyslexic. In my head, it wasn't right. Things weren't right. It went on, so I assumed it could only go on one way. Well, it can't. It goes on multiple ways. And so when I ran this, that put the belt too close to the high pressure steering hose for the power steering. And it rubbed and cut a little hole in the hose. Now I was going to make a video trying to change the hose, but things went bad, and it turned out like this, and I was not happy about everything, so I ended up not recording everything or videoing it, but I am going to video putting everything back in. So try to make a long story short is, I changed the alternator because I didn't put the belt on right. The belt was too close to the high pressure hose here and cut the hose. So I took it to the automotive shop, said, hey, what's it going to take to fix this? They're like, oh, we're going to have to pull the whole rack and pinion, $1,000. Truck's not worth $1,000. You know, can't afford a new truck. What do you do? Well, you figure out how to do it yourself. So that's where I'm at. And so I've got a new rack and pinion. This is an aftermarket one. I've got some new parts, and we're going to go through this stuff a little bit here. I'm going to try to show you what I got going on. So this is the one that came out. This is why it was going to cost $1,000 to do it, because you could see this was not coming back apart without this coming out. So I had to change it all. And so I finally got this out. This can be pulled out. I watched YouTube videos. Guys pulled it out without having to take the tie rod end off. I got vehicles driving by. Without having to take the tie rod end off. They were on hoists and stuff, doing it in garage. I don't have all the luxuries of a garage. I got it loose, and I ended up having to take the tie rod end off to get it out. But it can be taken out without doing the tie rod end. I recommend having a second person help you, especially if you got to do it from the ground. But I got it out. I ordered a new one, as you can see, an aftermarket one here. I don't know how good my videoing's been. So I ordered a new one, an aftermarket one here. The only difference is in the aftermarket, which concerns me because, you know, that's just, I'm not a mechanic, okay? Let me make that clear. I'm not a mechanic, and I'm not saying I'm good at this. What I'm saying is, at this point, if you're in a position of needing something like this, you can do it yourself. It can be done, okay? $400 invested in this, and that's buying some extra tools that I didn't have, versus $1,000 and time. So the new one doesn't have the vent tubes. Everything else is the same. You can see the block here with this screw. It's got to have this screw. It's got this block. It doesn't have the screw, but I'm going to have to take this one out and put it on there. This is the new hose. This is why it's got to have that screw thing, because that's part of putting it together. We'll show you that when we put it together. This is where it goes into the pump. This end has to go in here. This is the old one, see? And then for this here, this wasn't coming out. That wasn't going to come out of there. So we had to get a new one of those. That'll go here. And then should be able to slide everything in. Now it's going to be tricky because these are press fittings. It's going to be tricky figuring out a way without the proper tool to press that in there. But I'm going to figure out a way to get them in there. See, like that one. It's got to be pressed in there. That's why these are like that. So I'm going to figure out a way to get in there. I got a couple ideas. I'll show you what my ideas are, see which ones work, because I don't know. Had to get new sway bar links, because as you can see, sway bar has left the chat. These brackets here, these are for the sway bar bushing brackets. These, I was having a hard time finding these at a reasonable price on the interweb. Still solid metal, rusty. So I'm going to clean them up with the wire brush and throw a little fresh spray paint on there. Same with the sway bar. I'm going to clean that sway bar up. Throw a little fresh spray paint on there. And then I didn't have $200 to afford one of these for now for the steering. The boot's jacked. Wasn't sure I was buying the right boot, so I just opted out because that's still good in there. I'm going to put some grease, some white lithium or grease, or I'm going to grease it or something just to get her by and clean this all up so everything goes back together nice and neat. My objective, first stage, clean everything up, set everything up, and start putting parts together. And I'm going to try to take you guys on that journey, show you how I do this. That way normal people who are not mechanics and can't afford a mechanic, if you're in a tough spot, you can do this too. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. So the first step I'm going to do right now is, first thing I want to do is I'm going to take this stuff in the garage. I got a angle grinder thing with a wire brush on there. I'm going to take this in the garage, put them in the vise that I got, clean the stuff up. I'm going to cut that off. And the tools that I did have to invest in, I didn't absolutely have to, but I bought this off the Jungle page. I have hernia, so putting a lot of torque on stuff is not an option for me. So I got that to assist with that kind of stuff, and I had to get some extra wrenches. So I bought these 2 sets of wrenches. Alright, metric. I had to get this because I needed the stubby for the power steering pump. I'll show you when we get there. Some other basic tools you're going to need: ratchet, some extensions, some sockets, swivel head if you got it. That'll make things easier. I got one around here. Got some impact sockets. We're going to paint these too, prevent with some corrosion. We're going to paint that to help prevent with corrosion because I live in the north, and as you can see what the north does. And the biggest reason I'm gotta fix this truck is because I can't afford another vehicle, and the Impala's gone, but the transmission is slipping, and that's going to go out. Once that goes out, I can't put another transmission in myself. It's not worth it, and she will be gone. So this is all I got. It's all I'm going to have eventually here when that car dies. When that car dies, I'm going to scrap it though and put that money towards another one. Should be able to get at least $350-400 for it. Still got the catalytic converters. But I'll meet you in the garage. Let me take my stuff in the garage and get set up, and I'll meet you in there, and then we're going to show you how I'm going to clean this stuff up, give you the rundown on that. So, all right, see you on the inside.